Hey everyone, and welcome back to the next coach's commentary for the 2019 season. Algoma High School football, 8-man, best scoring defense in the state of Wisconsin. This game is going to be the second to last one, featuring Algoma and St. Mary Catholic. And let's jump right into things right away here. And we're taking a look at the Zephyrs. One of the things that we were pretty cognizant of going into the game, at least for myself, was the scoring defense. So as you can see here, we had a pretty easy win, 54-18. We had a lot of film on these guys because of other opponents that we had been playing and stuff like that. So we were able to get, I think it was 3 games broken down. So we had a pretty good idea as to what they do on offense and defense. So going into the game, it was our second to last game. I had been keeping track of 8-man defenses around the state since midseason. Coach Vanderbest had been doing a little bit too. So I knew that we were in the top 3 as far as the scoring defense went. I really didn't talk to the guys about it until after the game. And a big part of that was I wanted the guys to remain focused. So the Zephyrs had some really, really bad tape out there, and I wanted these guys to take them seriously. I didn't want to talk about like, hey, this is some like other things that we can think about, and then us not respecting the team and so on and so forth. So as you can see there, defense did a heck of a job. 2 takeaways, 4 sacks, gave up 85 rush yards, and then 210 pass yards. Okay, so the defense for the Zephyrs, as you can see, this is how they lined up against our offense. It's a 4-2-2, cover 0 man, same that we saw pretty much every single week. Their linebackers got burned a lot by play action when it came to the tape that we had, and you'll see that in their tape against Elkhart Lake. Their defensive ends contain, kind of like normal, and that means that we're going to trap the heck out of them and have some big plays out of that. They did have a little bit of beef at defensive tackle, so that was a little bit of a concern for us. But again, we've seen size before, and again, it's about using that technique. It's about working hard, so they weren't too bothersome for us. The offense wasn't a very good offense, but they used lots and lots of different formations, so we had to make sure that we were on top of everything. And they did a lot of spread stuff. If they tried to like power run against you, they weren't going to do so hot. So as you can see on the offensive formations on your screen, a lot of trips. A lot of times they would stack their trips, have them spread out, close stacks, far stacks, and that's because a lot of teams run man-to-man defense. So if you stack your receivers and have them going all over the place, it's a lot tougher to cover. But it didn't really bother us because against trips, we predominantly play zone, and they could send guys whichever way they want, and we're going to have people to cover it. They also had a 4-wide situation there, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. But again, trips is primarily what we were focused on and what we were expecting to see. They also had a swinging gate formation, kind of like with Sevastopol. Theirs was a little bit different, so we lined up a little bit differently as well, but it's pretty much the same premise. We have everybody covered, everybody locked up, and whether it's going to be a pass, we're going to have the 2 guys that are, the twins off to the left of the formation there. We have the best cover corner guys are going to be covering them, and then we're going to have that strong safety being able to get in there, whether they side snap it, have a bubble screen out there or whatever. They're going to pretty much be unblocked getting in there, and we're going to get immediate pressure on the quarterback. We're going to have one guy in his face no matter what happens, and then our linebacker is going to be able to spy him and get the tackle. So it wasn't something that we were too worried about. So a couple of things to watch in this game. For the Wolves, Elijah had a heck of a game. Number 55, O&D line, usually the biggest guy in the field. He had a dominating performance on offense and defense. On defense, 8 tackles, 7 QB pressures, 3 QB hits, 2 sacks. And then on offense, did his usual stuff, killing guys and pancaking guys and crushing defensive ends and stuff on trap plays. But then also he caught a 2-point conversion, and he might have some of the best hands on the team. Another guy to watch, Brett Benish, wide receiver and cornerback, number 7. Talk about him a lot. On offense, he touched the ball 7 times, and he got 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay, amazing production when it comes to that. And then on defense, 8 tackles and a pick. So again, when it comes to making tackles and having tackling responsibilities, our cornerbacks don't have a whole lot of it, but he was able to get in on a bunch of plays and do some great things. On the flip side, St. Mary Catholic, the Zephyrs, there were only 2 teams the entire year that scored on our starting defense, and they're going to be one of them. Newman Catholic, of course, and St. Mary Catholic, the only 2 teams that scored on our starting defense. That's something that we can definitely be proud of. In the game, they drove down and they scored on us, and that was the first time where I had to call timeout and jack up the defense because I didn't like how we were playing. And the game, it was extremely cold. It was extremely windy. The field was wet. There were standing puddles all over the place. Horrible conditions to play in, but still, I wanted to jack up the defense, to show that these guys shouldn't be able to score on us when they did. And it was the only time I really had to do that. In terms of quarterbacks, it gave us a little bit of things to deal with because they had 3 quarterbacks with a lot of attempts. Again, we had a lot of film on these guys, and 3 different quarterbacks that we saw, and in this game they had a 4th different quarterback, a completely new guy. The main guy to watch, number 7 for the Zephyrs. He had the most receptions by a lot, he had the most yards by a lot, had the most touchdowns by a lot. I don't remember, I think he might have got 2nd team all conference when it came to our conference, which is good for him, but I mean we locked him down, I'll just say that. And then, like I said, the weather was going to give us some issues, kind of that mental part of the game. How are we going to adjust to that? After that first series and me jacking guys up, we played beautifully, and I was very, very happy how things went. But, of course, I had to do that. So let's get into the game here. And this is us scouting. So this is from Elkhart Lake. This is who we played the very last game, so the game after this one. See, doing some like speed options and stuff like that, not doing a great job. You see their offensive line getting beat really badly. So, to their credit, Elkhart Lake had a lot of studs on their O&D line, as we'll talk about when I go over that game. But, the Zephyrs, they were able to do some stuff. You can see their defense here. They got that 4-2-2. Very susceptible to play action. Elkhart Lake ran that exact play a whole bunch of times, and it worked every single time. So they did some of these short screens. Again, not too big of a worry for us. And wide open, number 56 there for Elkhart Lake. I'll talk a lot about him in the future when we go over that game. So yeah, Zephyrs, not doing a whole lot. Having some struggles. And I think this might be our last play here where you have a jump ball to number 7. Yep, here it is. So he can make plays. He had some good height. And again, with the size of our corners, we didn't have the biggest corners. So, of course, that's always a little bit of a concern. But again, we have physical guys, and playing with good technique, they're aggressive. So we'll take a look at that. So we will be getting into the game here shortly. So I have a treat for you guys this time. There's going to be a guest for this coach's commentary, and it's going to be Algoma's very own Mr. Robinson. So here he is, Mr. Robinson. Since most of you guys know who he is and stuff like that, maybe you can just talk a little bit about his football bona fides before we get into things here.
Hey everyone, so I started playing football when I was around 8 years old is when they started their first football program in my area. And being a bigger kid, I was on the line pretty much the entirety of my younger career because you could only be a certain weight to be any other position. So I've been playing line, offense, and defense pretty much all the way up through high school because of that. And in high school, played center for my freshman and sophomore years on the freshman and sophomore team. But when I played and got pulled up for varsity, I would be playing guard. But then when our team got into it, or my class got into varsity because it was a bigger school, when I was a junior and senior, I actually went back to center on varsity. So I played center with my grade, but when I got pulled up, I played other positions on the line.
So how many people went to your high school total, and then how big was your football team?
Oh man, the football team was big. We had 1,200, I think, in the school. So 1,200 in the school, and so our practices were interesting. So it consisted of we had our freshman team, which was a full like 40 to 50 kids that were out there trying to play, and pretty much everyone made the team for that one. But then JV, we had cuts, so not everyone made the team. It was kind of the same deal, same size. Varsity was juniors and seniors pretty much exclusively, unless there was someone, that was capable of playing up or being a fill-in sub guy or anything like that, like I did, like I was just saying. But it was crazy because we had one field and a lot of teams to practice, and it was a busy looking field at practice time. We were looking at like easily 130 people.
Oh, wow. So did you guys like platoon? So like was there like two-way starters at all, or did you have to be like an absolute stud in order to start both ways?
There were a few, there's a couple off the top of my head that I know were studs that did both ways. But I think even though there was a lot of people that went out, talent-wise, you probably had a good, not many more than 25 that were starter-worthy. So there were some, like, skill positions. We didn't have people going both ways, really. So our D-backs were usually exclusively defensive backs, and our wide receivers were exclusively wide receivers, but the linemen, we were kind of thin on line. So a lot of our guys would play both offense and defensive line, but we would still have quite a bit of rotation in there. So.
Sure. Cool. All right, well, before we get into this game with Algoma and St. Marie Central, you got any 8-man things you want to talk about?
Yeah, so watching some of the other ones, I noticed that you guys had that, and you had mentioned the 2-man front for your defense, but I was wondering kind of just what do you typically see other teams using for the most part?
Yeah, I think the vast majority of teams run that 4-man front, like that 4-2-2. There's a couple of teams that would run 3-man fronts. Newman Catholic is one. That's the team that worked us over, and they were the state runner-up this year. And they ran like a 3-3 defense. But yeah, I think in terms of like how we run things, where we have a 2-2, we have a 3-1, where I haven't seen any teams that do something like that. Now, granted, I haven't seen every single team play, but we've played teams from all and seen film from teams all over like the eastern part of Wisconsin, and it's pretty much.
I think you cut out there, Mike. Pretty much what?
Pretty much all the teams that we see, it's a 3-man front or a 4-man front almost every single time.
So do you think you're going to switch to that now that you lost 2 seniors that were basically the obvious front runners for the position?
I don't plan on it. We're trying to get the best 8 guys onto the field, and I really like being able to have 4 DBs because then we can run any coverage. We can do all of our blitzes. We can do all of our like inverted safeties and stuff like that, getting our tacklers up towards the line of scrimmage a little bit more. So I plan on running the 3-1 or the 2-2. It's just about how can we get the best players on the field. This year it was pretty easy because we had so many good players. We could run the 2-2 or the 3-1 and be good, but we'll see this next coming year. We graduated, I think it was 10 seniors, and then we'll have 2 seniors next year, so it might be a little crazy.
Yeah, it might be a rough year, but then you'll have all the underclassmen that are going to be together for a while starting, so they'll get a lot of experience at least, so that's good.
Yeah, we'll take our lumps and stuff, but JV, we were 1-1-1, did some really good things, so just more guys need to step up, and that's football, that's life, and I'm excited for the challenge, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
All right, so let's get into our game here. All right, so kind of missed the kickoff a little bit there, but it was a squib kick, and one of the things that irritated me a lot is there are only 2 teams that scored on us on our starting defense all year, and this was one of them. And they were definitely not a team that I thought would be able to do that.
Looks like they're just in space.
Yep, and we saw 3 other quarterbacks during the season, like a film of theirs, and this guy that they have at quarterback is brand new also. We had no film on him whatsoever. And he did a nice job. Yeah, this game is super cold, super wet. There's guys are falling all over the place, and you can kind of see when they're trying to take off that they're like sliding in the mud. There were puddles all over the place, and it was really windy.
Gosh, it seems like every play is just a matter of if you guys can get to the quarterback in time on this drive, because if he gets a pass off, it looks like they're catching it most of the time here.
Yep, and it's really hard to, as DBs, make those cuts. But I actually called timeout on this drive to jack up the defense, which is the first time I had to do that all year. And I think it was maybe the only time I did that all year. But after that one series, we were pretty golden.
So pretty much even the games I've been to, I see a lot of squib kicking. Were there any that did the typical kickoff with less guys on the field, or is it easier to do the squibs?
We just would squib kick because it was either like we were getting a lot of young guys in there, so our older guys could rest. So we just didn't want a big return on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, this first series was kind of a tone setter. You saw Elijah kill a guy there.
He just murdered that guy.
Yeah, we just got guys blocking in the whistle. I mean, Hunter Stuller's 15 yards downfield making blocks on guys.
Which number is he? I don't know their numbers super well.
Hunter's 50.
50, okay.
And he'll be the smallest guy on the line there.
See, like there, Elijah just barely tapped the tackle and then just went to the second guy right away and easy 5-10 yards.
Yep. So yeah, matched him. I think we kicked it deep just because we had the wind with us.
Yeah, that was A, not Elijah.
Yeah.
And B, pretty far down there. Now, did this team run anything super tricky in terms of formations? Like that one team had the swing that they did?
That play that we just saw there was a trick play that we had seen on film that they probably didn't know we had. So we were like ready for it actually, and we practiced against it during our team defense periods. So as soon as we saw that motion, we knew it was going to be like a pitch pass type of thing. So we were all over it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, these guys were really susceptible on film to play action passes. So I think we got them on that numerous times in this game.
Oh.
But that's kind of it's a tough thing when you're running just like cover zero man is if you're a linebacker and you read run and you step up and a guy just runs right by you, like you're toast. It's too easy.
So is that one of the main reasons you like doing the 3-1 and the 2-2 so that you have a little bit more leeway on that and have some guys back there to help?
A little bit, yeah. And then also a lot of teams don't figure the safeties in their blocking scheme. So they're coming up and filling a lot. So they're like coming up and filling and they're unblocked almost always. Plus when you got, Elijah and Gavin and, our big nose tackles and stuff out there, like we can do really well against the run.
Ooh.
Yeah, that quarterback, I was impressed with him. I think here, this is it. So Elijah.
Oh. The contrast of Elijah and Brett being in the same frame like that is just unreal. Oh
man. But yeah, I get popped on that one. But yeah, on that play, Elijah just like one arm throws a kid into another one. Like, that's one of the plays of the year there.
That was a good open field tackle right there, too.
Yep. Switched to our 2-2 defense, probably because they were passing a whole lot. So we felt that we could get pressure with just 2 down linemen and get another linebacker out there for kind of clogging up the middle pass-wise.
What's your if you go up against a team that does a lot of outside runs, what's the counter to that when you're doing something like the 2-2?
It's still pretty much the same based on how we have them aligned. So on the strong side, no matter where they go, we're trying to get them to bounce it outside. Oh, jeez. We're trying to get them to bounce it outside so that our safeties come up and make tackles. So with our nose tackle, it's just that if they would do like a weak side run, that first linebacker, he's taught to just fill super hard. And then that other linebacker is going to scrape over, and our safety is going to come up, so we still have guys there.
Okay.
So a lot of teams, when they kind of see like, oh, their DNs aren't playing contain or they're in the 2-2, they think that they'll be able to just run outside on us, and that's actually where we want them to go, and that's where we're strongest.
Well, that's good.
Gavin Miller with the 2-point conversion catch there. Got to point that out.
The rarity of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was just completely blown up from the D-line immediately.
Yep. And Elijah and Gavin, they're both 2 very different D linemen, but they're both just so good at what they do. Where, Gavin, he's very technical, and then Elijah's just a monster. We got everybody covered.
It's nice too, because it seems like, having you had the athleticism at linebacker to cover receivers and tight ends in this, when you got good matchups like that too. Like, who's 23?
That's Jordan Derringer.
Derringer? Yeah, like when that tight end went out, he's not going to outrun him.
Yep, exactly. And then Hunter's quick.
Ooh.
No, Lucas with the pick there.
That's a poor decision. It's a very poor decision. So what grade was the quarterback that played in this game that you guys haven't seen?
I think he was a senior, and like he was a big kid. I think he was probably around 6'3". Weight wise, I don't know. We're gonna get him with the pop pass here again.
Nice. Yeah.
But I mean, for not seeing him on film or whatever, and he's a stand-up defensive end there too. He did a heck of a job as a quarterback, diagnosing plays and stuff like that, and what we're running. Like that's really difficult to do. Got Jared Huddle in there. I mean, he's even going through two guys and pushing them back.
Yeah,
nice stick. That was Chase Peranto there.
The receiver on the far side of the screen seems like a big guy. Number 7.
He had the most receiving yards and receptions by a lot, and I think like in the conference he got second team. Even though I definitely wouldn't call him a second team player, but
he would have probably caught that if it wasn't so wet. That was kind of a gimme there.
probably got just a lead there. After we got things going, it was just pretty much a slaughter. Well, I think this might be the play that I'm thinking here. Yep, Elijah Ritchie, best hands on the team. Look at that. He was begging all year to get that play. You know, because with Gavin Miller, you know, having him at like a tight end,
yeah,
you know, that every time he drop a pass, he's in coach's ear, he's in my ear, you know, and it's, when you let linemen go out for routes, it's like a disease. That's all they talk about then.
Well, I can't say I didn't do the same.
Yep.
My most memorable defensive play was I read a screen pass and I dropped the pick.
Oh no!
I was so disappointed. In all fairness, I did have to dive for it, but I did drop it, so I was a little disappointed.
Got some D-line rotation going on there. We got Danny Collard in there at nose. Oh, Danny could have had the sack.
Yeah, he's got to wrap up there. That was a shove.
I mean, he's just taking on those double teams, and
That was a great read by that guy.
was that a penalty on it?
Yeah. Ooh, bad angle. Hard to tell depth here, though. He was probably further off than he looked.
Yeah, plus I don't remember how many rush yards we gave up, but 42 is going to have like a big rush towards the end of the game against the JVs, but like their rushing attack really wasn't hurting us. But yeah, Gavin Miller, nice sack there. Here we go, nice end around. 53, that's probably Gavin Miller.
Oh, yeah. He had a good block on that one. He sealed that for him.
Yep, that's Gavin. Fourth down, going for it. That away, Vandervest.
Easy.
Just running over guys.
Yeah, he was driving his legs there. He could have gotten maybe another yard or two with how hard he was pushing. Oh. Oh,
God.
Elijah just pulled and destroyed that guy.
Elijah was like completely dominant this game. He had like 8 tackles on defense. He was just driving guys on offense, lighting people up. I think he had 2 sacks, bunch of QB pressures. And he's just putting guys on the ground every single play.
Ooh. I thought he was going to break away there.
Yeah, we were just trying to like, this is right before halftime, and we didn't want to give them the ball back. So we were kind of just like wasting time.
All start? Or was that the end of the game?
That must have been the end of the half, yeah.
No, or the half, yeah.
There we go. Leighton Hagley, good decision. Don't get killed. Coming out passing.
Yeah, he had all the time
There's-
in that pocket. Oh,
And there's nobody around either. Like, here comes a trap. There we go. I mean,
that guy that's
Oh,
behind
man.
him, he was stutter stepping. He might have been able to catch him if he didn't give up so soon. Oh,
but yeah, I mean, when you're getting your butt kicked and with the weather and stuff, it gets really, really cold. I was super cold this game, and we were doing a pretty good job. And I think I was wearing like 2 jackets, and I think I was wearing like shorts under my pants and all kinds of stuff.
ooh. You get it? No.
Nope. So probably okay. Yeah, they're launching it deep here.
Good awareness, though, at least. I mean, you got to beat down.
They called us for pass interference on that.
Wow.
Like, there were some pretty bad calls in this one,
There you go.
all
Wow.
going against us. Yeah.
Just got rid of the
Right, there we
ball immediately and just reached out and
Now we got some rotational guys in there. We got Gavin Shrinka, or that's our punt return team. So it's pretty much JV front. We're just being patient. Just running guys 8 yards downfield. There we go.
I just watched Elijah's block there the whole time. I was just waiting for it. I saw him running towards him, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah, we're getting we got CA in there too at one of the tight end spots. So he and Elijah are next to each other, trying to pancake guys.
Ooh.
CA's 81 there. And now we got this is JV offense here. Got Ethan Pavlont.
Who's quarterback?
That's Caden Varden.
Martin. Oh wow, look at him go. Ooh. Now, do they start typically putting in their JV guys too at situations like this?
Kind of depends on the team. These guys didn't. I think they're just trying to put up some more points before that. Plus, I think it was senior night, so a lot of those guys stayed in the whole game, which is definitely understandable.
Yeah.
was a 6 stiff arm by Noah there.
Ooh. 75, who lost his block there? I don't know who that is.
75, I think that's Raymond Leslie.
Ooh. Something tells me that wasn't intentional.
Usually we squib kick it, but I'm not sure if
Seems like
he was trying to do better than that one. Yeah, he hit it with like the side of his foot or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the big run where he's just running over our young guys.
Yeah, he's a big guy. That was their second touchdown, right?
Yep.
Ooh, nice block.
Ryan Pierre, look at those hands. Got Javen Charles and Gavin Shrinka split out there. Leighton Hagley running the ball, running guys over. Varn's just using his speed here. He's not really reading blocks.
Yeah.
Leighton must be
Edge
getting
wasn't
the ball.
stuck that well either. Oof.
Yeah. That's a big kid.
Yeah.
Going for it on 4th down.
Ooh.
Javen Charles, catch that young man.
It's a learning experience.
I called timeout after this play and jacked up Javen because he was covering the wrong guy. He's an outside corner and he went on the slot, so we had nobody out there.
Oh, wow.
I'll remind him of that from time to time. Just like, what were you doing?
Well, that's just a big man running now.
Yeah, he's huge. They should have just run him every single play. Like, our JVs wouldn't have been able to stop him.
That was a good pursuit there.
Yeah. Got Gavin Shrinka on the tackle. One of our safeties is probably coming up.
Get him. Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Not ideal. Well, that was a good wrap up there.
Yep, that was a heck of a play. That was Ethan Fleischman there.
That was a catch. That was a good catch.
Yep.
Oh. Sitting and waiting.
Yep. Whoops.
You're not recovering from that one.
Nope.
Ooh. That was a great bounce.
Yep. There must be a lineman getting the ball there. Maybe we gotta chase him around. No!
You almost got away with that one too.
Yep. But yeah, thank God for that running clock. We weren't able to score again.
Yeah, I mean it's still a good win. And the
Yeah,
JV,
we knew.
there was a few,
Go ahead.
rough tackles, but I mean they seemed to hold their own pretty good. The defensive line, when you had the JV guys in, was getting in there.
Yeah, and like they got some big kids, with like CA, he's a big kid and stuff like that. So yeah, they did a pretty nice job, and we knew that this film was going to go to our last opponent, which was Elkhart Lake. So I was a little irritated that they were able to score on us right away, but Elkhart Lake was one of the films that we had on these guys, and they just I think they shut them out too. So that probably gave them a little bit of confidence, gave Elkhart Lake confidence, because they're a pretty good team. It's just that we had a lot more seniors and we were a bigger school than them. If their offense is going to be really tough to stop, but if they had similar athletes to us. But yeah, it was a good game.
A lot of big plays.
Yeah, I mean that play with Elijah where he just throws the kid.
He just takes out 2 guys in one like that too.
Yeah, just that's like play of the year, Sports Center stuff, where guys are just getting mauled and things like that. And
well, it's like dream scenario if you're running outside to get 1 guy to take out 2.
And him, instead of blocking like a huge guy, he gets to light up like a D end or a linebacker or something like that. It's a lot more fun. Oh, with that Elijah Ritchie pancake, the one-handed throwing guys, getting 2 pancakes for one, reminds me a little bit of somebody else that I know. All I'm saying is I definitely look way faster than him. All right, so I think we can call that a wrap. So thanks for joining me. And we'll come back with some more coaches' commentaries in the future. So have a good one, folks.
Adios.